हेलो एंड वेलकम टू ए वेरी 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 विंडी बैंगलोर। ये जो लोकेशन पे हूँ मैं, दिस लोकेशन इज़ ब्यूटिफुल बट द विंड इज़ क्रेजी। एंड टुडे विथ मी आई हैव दिस। ये है नई टाटा ऑल्ट्रोस जो अभी जस्ट लॉन्च हुई है। एंड टुडे आई एम गोइंग टू टेक यू ऑन अ टूर ऑफ दिस कार। पहले मैं आपको एक चीज़ बोलना चाहता हूँ तो किसी मैन्युफैक्चरर्स जो है ना, मैन्युफैक्चरर्स हार्डली एंड रेयरली अपने खुद से डिसीजन लेते हैं। उनके जो डिसीजन होते हैं दे आर मोस्टली बेस्ड ऑन what customers give them feedback and what customers give them inputs. So the upgrades that you see or the changes that you see the manufacturers making in these cars are based on what customers want, because in the end customer is king, right? तो इस नई ऑल्ट्रोस का मैं आपको कुछ चीज़ें ऐसी बताऊंगा. So what I have found out is that there are a lot of positives and there are a few not so positives as well about this car. Thankfully, the positives hugely outweigh the negatives, but there are obviously some pros as well as some cons. So in this video today, I'm going to show you the car. I'm going to tell you about the pros as well as the cons of this car, and then take it for a ride and see how it drives. Alright, to start off with, let's have a quick look from the outside. Good part is, the first things first, is that this new Ultros, in my opinion, now looks are subjective, but I believe this new Ultros looks a lot better than the previous one. There were a few things about the older Ultros, like for example, the older Ultros had the very weird like a shoulder line over here. It had a very weird wheel arch which was kind of asymmetrical with the rest of the symmetry of the car. They've kind of hammered that out, and the wheel arch is now much more aligned and symmetrical with the rest of the body of the car. Same goes with the rear as well, and the lines and the overall shape of this car from the outside looks a lot more cohesive. It looks a lot more aligned with the entire package. There are a lot of updates with this car. The entire front grille has been upgraded. There is a completely new front grille. There's a new headlight as well. There is a completely new redesigned bumper as well as these fog lamps. The fog lamps and the headlights are now very rectangular. The whole car actually is gotten a lot more sharper, I believe. And the way these bumpers are designed, they look really nice. There's also a air channel over here, kind of, you can say, like an air dam to sort of make the car lot more aerodynamic. The headlights are now LEDs. This entire section is a daytime running light, and I feel overall this car looks a lot better than the previous one. The mirrors also have been upgraded. This car now has a 360-degree parking camera, for which there are little cameras over here on both sides of the wing mirror. There's also a camera over here just below the Tata logo, and there's also a camera at the back. On the side, you also get these new redesigned alloy wheels. There are now flush door handles that you need to press in front for them to pop open from the back, and that's how you can open the car. Going towards the back, again, the tail light has been redesigned. It still kind of keeps the shape of the last generation Ultros, but it's been completely redesigned. Over here you see that the indicators are a lot more sleeker. Also, one more thing to notice is over here at the back that there is now a continuous joint lighting. It's basically a complete light bar over here at the back which lights up when the car is on and the headlights are on. Over here at the back you will also see the rear view camera. This is also part of the whole 360 camera system. There are also parking sensors over here at the back, and the reverse light is over here. So I would say, if I take a quick 360 walk around of this car, the car looks a lot more in sync with what the design of the car is. Like, as I mentioned, the previous design of the Ultros had a very weird wheel arch both front and back. That has kind of been hammered out, and now it's become a lot more symmetrical with what the overall car's design is. I really like this design. It's actually a lot sharper, it's a lot more aggressive compared to the first car. I think overall it's a much needed and a much nicer upgrade. Now, if you want to get into the back seat, the door handles are over here on the top, just like the previous generation Ultros. The front door handles have been changed, which is now flush. You press in the front and it kind of pops open at the back. Now, even before getting into the car, you will already see a lot of changes. The seat over here in this particular model, which is the top end model, has height adjustment as well. The most important thing which I feel about these seats is that now they have a nice substantial amount of thigh support, and they also have a lot of side bolstering. These are full cloth seats. I believe all of the models, the starting base variant as well as the top end, they all come with the same cloth seat interiors. And over here on the door cards also, you will see there are 3 different materials or 3 different colors over here, where this part is fabric, and the rest is plastic. Over here you have your power window switches. These are all for manual, and the only one which gets a single pinch down and a single pinch up is the driver's. You have to press and hold it for a while and then the glass comes down. Similarly, you press and hold it a little bit up and then the glass goes up. Then over here you have the side mirror adjustments. The good thing about getting in is that first of all, it is a really nice cabin, and second of all, I am finally shielded from that crazy wind that's blowing on the outside. On the interior, it looks really premium. You have 3 different materials or shades or designs to the dashboard. Everything, whatever you see over here is hard plastic, but it's been given different textures. This texture is different from this texture, and there are these lines in the center to make everything come together. Overall, I feel that the interiors really look good. They really do look good, and they are kind of enhanced by the availability of this massive, I believe it's a 10.5 inch touchscreen over here in the center for the infotainment, and also over here at the center you have a nice high resolution screen. The thing to note over here is that the instrument cluster is only this part. This is the only screen part of it, and these do not come as part of the screen. Then just like the rest of the Tata cars, your steering has also gotten upgraded. Now it's a 2-spoke steering with your buttons over here. There's the cruise control on this side. Then there is this button which takes care of the menus over here, where you can switch between a lot of different settings on what you want. It also has, if you go into the menu, you can also have one very nifty option, which is vehicle info, and then you go over here and it gives you a power torque figure as well, so you know how much power you're using, how much torque is being consumed. Not very helpful, but it is something which is there nonetheless. On this side you have your volume buttons, and then you have your channel seeker over here. One really cool and helpful thing which I found in this car is, let's say you set up a destination. Once you start that destination, you will see down over here there is a small part of the display which shows you what is the next upcoming direction. I think this is super handy. You don't have to look again and again over here in the infotainment. You can just directly look over here and understand when your turn is coming up. Really handy, I find this feature. Then over here you've got 2 separate fuel gauges. The one in the bottom is for petrol and the one on the top is for your CNG. Over here in the center, everything is quite minimal. You have your air conditioning controls over here. This is your fan control and your temperature control. Around it you have also buttons, or touch buttons rather, for the 360 camera. Touch button over here quickly allows you to switch between CNG and petrol. Like this currently is on CNG, and if I press it again, I am on petrol. Then we have the lock unlock over here, also the fog lamps, and this is a new feature which Tata has given, which I feel is very handy, especially for Indian summers where the temperature goes to 40, 45, sometimes even more than that. This is a quick ultra cool kind of setting. They basically call it express cooling. What it does is it lowers the temperature to the minimum, and at the same time, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it just makes the blower speed crazy. It's like tornado crazy inside over here right now. I'm gonna turn it off because it is actually too loud. Alright, the glove box is in typical Tata fashion operated by this button. You press it, the glove box slowly comes down, and this is actually a split glove box where you have one section on top for keeping your documents and a nice deep section over here which is also illuminated, which will keep the rest of your stuff. There is also a little bit of storage over here for maybe more documents, and there are also 2 integrated cup holders over here inside. Another Easter egg they've dropped is this Morka diagram over here, which, I mean, yeah, it's there. Altros is actually an eagle if I'm not wrong, but yeah, there you go. Over here in the center you have a wireless charger, a manual gearbox, and a few more cup holders over here. Also, another thing which I wanted to point out is that on all 4 doors, this car actually has nice and deep pockets where you can keep bottles. I believe this will easily keep a 1 liter bottle. We do have a 1 liter bottle over here, and as you can see, the 1 liter bottle fits sideways, but it does fit well with some space in the front for more items. The good part that I like about this particular variant of the car is because the seats are height adjustable. I can literally drop them very low, where I actually am currently sitting super low inside the cabin of the car, and it kind of gives me that, you know, low seating, sedanish sporty vibe. That was a lot of positives covered about this car. Now here are a few things which have actually become a little worse. So yeah, as I was saying, in terms of what customers want, Tata ने इस गाड़ी में they've given literally everything. इससे ज़्यादा अब customer कुछ नहीं मांग सकता. Features के मामले में there is a lot of things over here on the inside. And if you've noticed the recent trend with Tata cars, it's not only about the features तो हैं ही, but साथ में you also get a lot of safety. This car also has a similar outlook to safety, where it is one of the safest hatchbacks as per Tata. But कहीं ना कहीं तो of course compromise करना ही पड़ता है ना. I mean, when you're giving so many features, there has to be a positive and a negative. So the compromise is that what I feel that these plastics and the whole overall this quality of the interior has taken a slight. It's not a deal breaker. ऐसा नहीं कि बहुत बड़ा चेंज आ गया, but you definitely अगर आप पुरानी वाली ऑल्ट्रोज में बैठे हो और उसके बाद नई वाली ऑल्ट्रोज में बैठे हो ना, तो इसका इंटीरियर थोड़ा सा हल्का लगेगा. Again, not a deal breaker at all, but at the same time, you will definitely notice it. That's it. That is the only negative, or that is the only downgrade, let's say, what I will see about this car. Otherwise, it's actually pretty nice. So let's hop onto the back seat and see how the comforts are over there. You press down here, you also get a boot release. Car makes a lot of beeps and bongs. Now this being a CNG, you can see a little bit of the boot space is compromised because it's a twin cylinder. So you have like two CNG cylinders, one stacked besides the other over here. And uski वजह से you will find that the boot deck is a lot higher and the overall storage is a little less. That said though, I mean for a weekend this is fine, it's not that bad. But definitely, I mean CNG है तो obviously थोड़ा बहुत तो compromise होगा ही. Now sitting over here at the back, one thing this car does really well if you're sitting in front or at the back is that the insulation that you find yourself in from the outside, the sound isolation is really good. Okay, now these are one of the things that make it feel like a premium car. The minute you close the door, bahar ke sare noises, all the beeps and bongs are completely gone and you sit in a fairly isolated cabin. That is one good thing. Now also I am currently sitting over here at the back with this front seat at my position. I am 5'8" and I've kept the seat in my position. In fact, a little behind also because I was filming. And uske baad bhi there is pretty decent amount of legroom. There is also pretty decent amount of headroom as well. So in terms of sitting over here at the back, it also feels quite comfortable because also the other thing which I mentioned previously as well, there is a really nice under thigh support over here. The seats are a little flat in the center, but not so bad. You also get this armrest with cup holders for the back passengers. Now one good thing Tata has done is it's given high-powered USB-C over here in the back as well as in the front. These are both 65-watt chargers front as well as back, which means you'll be able to charge your devices relatively fast. As I mentioned before, today we are driving the petrol CNG as well as the diesel engine. So this is the 1.2 liter unit which puts out about 72 horsepower in its CNG format. The naturally aspirated petrol engine puts out about 88 horsepower, so it's slightly more than this. And I'm going to take it out for a spin to show you how it drives. Okay, driving the new Tata Altroz. This is the 1.2 petrol CNG. First things off the bat, the steering is incredibly light. And I am right now on some really bad roads. Abhi main main road pe nahi hu. Main actually film karne ke liye, as you can see, I came to a ground and I am actually going back from that road. The road is, there is no road basically, it's all tuta futa rasta, it's all matti ka rasta, and as you can see I'm able to carry quite good speeds. Interior, there is no rattle so far. This is actually a good road to sort of test and understand how well the interior is holding up to bad roads. Is it making too much noise or is it rattly? But till now, the good news, what I have to report is I cannot find a single rattle from anywhere on the interior. Also, you can see that I am not technically very slow despite this road being like typically a no road kind of a situation. Like I really don't need to worry about, you know, hitting a bumpy patch and, you know, the car flying and the entire suspension crashing and I am feeling it all on my back. Nothing. This car actually, wow, the suspensions are incredibly good. Like this has always been my favorite part about any of the Tata cars, that they have by far the most comfortable set of suspensions. They probably are not meant for handling, but then their purpose is to provide comfort, and that they do really well. Like, I mean, just by the way I'm going on this road, this is a completely broken kacha rasta it is. And wo kache raste pe na, the suspensions are just being so pliant. They're just able to keep the car very, very comfortable on the inside. So first things first is that the engine is a little noisy when you start off driving the car. You do feel that 3-cylinder engine buzzing a little bit when you're on the inside. That said though, despite being some 80-ish horsepower when it's on petrol and some 72 horsepower when it's on CNG, it is still actually quite peppy. It's not, I mean, it is not a performance engine by any means, but at the same time it is not sluggish as well. It picks up pace quite decently and it gets up to speed reasonably well. Like, the good part I like about this is I'm currently on CNG, which means I'm already down on power. I'm doing around 40 kilometers per hour and I put my foot down. I don't have to change the gear. I'm still on third gear and there you go. I've just overtaken a bus. And now I'm up to speed, and as you can hear from the beep, I've just crossed 80. And now I'm slowing down because that's the maximum speed allowed on this road. Now, I mentioned this before as well when I was sitting behind, but I want to say this and emphasize on this once again. The cabin on the inside feels so well isolated from all the noises, the honking and everything on the outside. So as I said here, see, the thing is, manufacturers चीज़ें जो करते हैं, they do that कि customers को क्या चाहिए and customers क्या मांग रहे हैं. Customers want a car that is loaded with features, which this car perfectly positions itself to give the customers. The customers want a premium interior, which is here. You've got an Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, infotainment system over here, which can give you all the settings. You can play with the settings of the car as well, while at the same time have a nice display, nice crisp high resolution display, which you can see your map and your directions also. This is also super handy. I don't have to every time look over here if I'm looking at the center, or if I'm looking straight, I just need to look down and see that after 800 meters I have to turn left. And the thing is, that engine might sound a little buzzy when you start off, but once you get up to pace, let's say once you get onto highway speeds, 80, 85 and above, engine actually settles down and you don't hear it so much. Oh, breaker. I did not see that speed brake over there, and the car did not let me feel anything. Suspensions on Tata cars are the best, I feel, for Indian roads. Again, not performance setup, they're not stiff, they're in fact the complete opposite. They're very soft, but they are the ones that make the car so much more comfortable and livable in day-to-day situations. Because हम लोग बोलते रहते हैं कि we want stiff suspension. Very few of us definitely do and do prefer it, but day-to-day basis पे I'd rather have a car which has soft suspensions for our kind of roads. We are not in Europe that, you know, स्टिफ सस्पेंशंस लेके भी यू कैन गो एवरीवेयर. वो पॉसिबल नहीं है, वो सब रियलिस्टिकली पॉसिबल नहीं है, अनरियलिस्टिक है वो, ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग. बट माई वीकेंड कार आई ऑफ कोर्स वांट अ नाइस स्टिफ सेट ऑफ सस्पेंशंस विच आई कैन कॉर्नर हार्ड. बट मैं डेली ड्राइवर नहीं है, डेली ड्राइवर में क्यों चाहिए. सो एनीवेज, नाउ आई विल स्विच टू CNG से पेट्रोल पे, एंड आई कैन इमीडिएटली फील देयर इज अ लिटिल डिफरेंस इन द परफॉर्मेंस, इन द पिकअप. इंजन गोज नाइस, revs all the way to 6000 RPM. Pretty good pickup here. I mean, again, as I said, not a groundbreakingly fast car in any regard, not a groundbreakingly powerful engine in any regard, but it gets the job done. It's pretty decent in the way it picks up and gets itself going. But the best part is the ride quality in this car. Seriously, I think while I mentioned before that a slight con of this new car is that I feel that there is a slight bit of cost cutting when it comes to the interior plastics. They do feel a little scratchy, and the overall materials, maybe they have been slightly downgraded. But in terms of its premium feel, in terms of how this car is on the inside, not bad at all. It actually is better, I feel. Like, I mean, the plastic touch is a little different, but overall sound insulation, the way this car drives, feels really good. What a beautiful driving car. Now again, this is, don't get me wrong, on corners this car is not going to hug you into corners. This car is not the car which is going to hug the corners, but those side bolsterings do help because there is body roll due to those soft set of suspensions. Again, not a performance car, but if you're driving it on highways, if you're driving it through twisty roads, this is going to keep you comfortable. These side bolsterings also, I notice, are holding me quite nicely. In fact, I am not sliding all over the place. And the good part is, even at current speeds, I'm doing about 80-85, the wind buffeting is not a lot. The interiors are actually a nice, comfortable place to be. They are nicely isolated from the outside environment elements. It's a nice, comfortable place inside. I think Tata's forte, apart from everything else, are its suspensions. And I have seen this across all their cars. I myself own a Tiago EV. Again, has a great set of suspensions. I've driven the Punch, great suspensions. Curve, great suspensions. This car as well, great suspensions. The suspensions for Indian roads, for Indian bad and broken and, you know, like really undulated, rutty roads, these suspensions are great. And it's not like it's complete chaos when you enter a corner. The car holds pretty decently when you're entering a corner as well. It's just that don't expect it to, you know, like pull 3 Gs or 2 Gs on one side when you're entering corner with those suspensions. It's a comfort car and it drives absolutely like it. It still picks up speed quite well. I mean, the one thing I did notice is, I mean, when you have a slightly buzzy engine, you start realizing that you are picking up a lot more speed than you actually are. That is not the case in this, because the engine settles down after the first couple of gears. The engine, the noise and everything settles down. And then you are actually left with a relatively silent car, which actually kind of masks the speed really, really well. Because there have been instances where I've been driving this car and I'm thinking, okay, this is nice, I'm enjoying the road, the roads are nice and smooth, I'm going in my own pace, thinking that I'm probably doing like 65, 70, and I look down into the speedo and I'm doing 100 plus. So that tells you about the refinement of the car, how refined the car is, and how well the interior is basically isolating you from the outside elements, how comfortable the suspensions are keeping you. It's not getting bumpy, it's not getting uncomfortable inside at those speeds, and you're relatively relaxed in this car. Anyways, it's now time for me to switch this car up and take the diesel out for a spin. Okay, so I have arrived over here with the CNG petrol, and that's the diesel over there which I'm going to head into next. Alright, done with that, and now it's time to drive the diesel. There are only two major differences. Of course, one is the engine, where instead of the 1.2 litre naturally aspirated petrol, now you have a 1.5 litre turbo diesel, putting out about 88 horsepower. And the second difference is actually over here at the back, which is in the size of the boot. As you can see, this boot is a lot deeper, because in the CNG version, the petrol version will of course have the similar boot, but compared to the CNG version, which this is, that space over here is taken up by the two cylinders. So over here, this is a much deeper, much more cavernous boot, and in the CNG version, this is leveled out over here, because below this height sits two cylinders. Now, with that said, let's take this car out for a drive. Starting the car up, you can feel there's a little bit more rumble, of course, because of that diesel. And what I'm also expecting is more torque as well, because this one puts out 90 horsepower. Actually, I said 88, but this one puts 90 horsepower and 200 Newton meters of torque. So there's a substantial difference in torque as expected from a diesel. The other good part about diesels is that you just don't have to be so sensitive between your clutching and your throttle. You can just slowly get off the clutch and you will immediately start rolling. Now, while at idling, obviously any diesel engine, even a big 2 liter diesel engine, while starting off does make a little bit of that rattle, but once you're driving, it actually settles down. I'm currently doing about 40-45 kilometers per hour on third gear, and the diesel engine is no more a bother. It's no more something that is ringing in my ear. While driving, it feels quite smooth. It feels actually quite refined. It doesn't feel rattly as of now at this moment. Of course, sitting in a diesel is going to feel a little sluggish, especially after you drive the petrol, because the petrol, obviously, especially a naturally aspirated one, has that torque and has that power delivery right from the get-go. That said though, let's see where this thing actually pulls up its power. I am currently on, now I am on third gear at around 2000 RPM. I'm dropping it a little bit lower to about 1800 RPM. Foot down on the throttle. Nothing, there you go. So around 1900, 2000 RPM is where the turbo kicks in, and after that this thing just pulls like a freight train. Before we know it, we are already doing speeds of above 3 digits. So it's time to slow down again. In fact, I feel that this diesel engine is more rev happy than the petrol one somehow. Again, 1500 RPM, fourth gear this time. Foot down on the throttle, got the pickup, and now the turbo kicks in and we are off. Pretty decent. Sitting over here on the inside, this is actually quite a serene place where I don't even have to actually yell at the pace which I was previously. I can talk in this, mic is right here, but I can still talk in a much lower volume, and I'm pretty sure you guys can still hear it clearly. The insulation in this car is the most surprising part. While one more thing I wanted to mention, while quality has sort of downgraded a little bit for the plastics on the door and overall in general, what also you don't get with the top end variant in this generation of the Altros are those leatherette seats. Now even if you buy the top end, you are going to get these cloth seats. Nothing wrong with that, but the only problem is with cloth, they absorb liquids, and that means that over time, especially with that light color, they are going to start noticing a lot of dirt and a lot of discoloration on them. The engine is not bad at all. I don't know why people say it's a bad engine. This is actually a pretty decent engine here. On the inside, it's actually a pretty serene place. The only thing which is a little disturbing for me over here in terms of the outside elements is the wind buffeting against that side view mirror. It is creating like a kind of a sound, but apart from that, I am very decently, very nicely actually. So what I want to come to a conclusion is that yes, there have been compromises that have been made, while at the same time there have been increments that have to be made. Are the increments better or carry more weightage than the compromises? 100%, definitely. Are the compromises that big or that bad that they are going to affect or they should affect your buying decisions? Well, that's purely up to you, but I don't think that in an overall sense of things they should, because there are a lot of things that are good. This car is now insanely well equipped. It's got very comfortable seats actually. Despite them being cloth, they are actually really comfortable seats with really good under thigh supports, both for the front as well as the back. The interior cabin somehow I feel has gotten better in terms of its overall NVH, how it's isolating you from the outside elements. You actually feel really cocooned over here inside, and with the new steering, with the new digital display for the instrument cluster, as well as the central infotainment screen, wireless charging, the amount of features that you get actually makes quite good sense. Okay, so let's quickly sum this up once again. Tata is positioning this car as a premium hatchback. Now, what considers as a premium hatchback? There are a few things. For me, there are definitely things like the interior fit and finish, the overall build quality, definitely the safety, then the comfort, and of course the features that you get with the car. Now let's come to all of those points one by one. In terms of interior quality, this car is good. It's not great. As I said, there have been corners that have been cut on the interior, and that's pretty visible with the seats as well as these plastics on the doors. Are they really bad to change your buying decision? Probably not. They are still very livable. The good thing is none of them are rattly. Despite their quality being completely different, they are not rattly. They don't feel that low in quality. They don't feel cheap. Then what is the next thing? The next thing is in terms of its overall build quality. Build quality wise, things are really good over here. There are no squeaks, there are no rattles. The car feels very, very solidly built from the outside as well as from the inside. When you're sitting over here, most of the things, like for example the steering, the other elements that you interact with, the multi-touch display, the gear shifter, everything feels quite nice and premium. Then the third point is safety. In terms of safety, it's a Tata. Tata, especially their hatchbacks, are known to be safe. They always play it safe, let's say, where they always get like a 5-star rating. So I think Tata has the safety part covered as well. Then the next is its ride quality. That for me is absolutely a game changer, because this car actually has a sublime ride quality. I love the way how this car drives. I love the suspensions. I love how beautifully damped the road feels, no matter how bad the road surface is. In terms of its handling, it's okay. Handling is not something which is considered as a premium. Sporty, yes. Premium, not so much. Not a consideration when people are buying or considering a premium hatchback. But apart from that, the ride quality is supremely good. I would consider it one of the best ride qualities for any hatchback out there. The suspensions have beautiful give. And lastly are the features. In terms of features, you literally have everything which is currently available in every other car, and possibly a little more. Tata has literally left no stone unturned when it comes to providing features. It's got everything from a sunroof to a full Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, big touchscreen, ambient lighting, everything, wireless charging. It's got the business. So I think this is, in the end of the day, it's a great car. It's a car which does showcase 8 out of 10 in terms of its premiumness, if not 10 out of 10. What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm going to see you in the next one. Till then, ciao.